Hey there, Fellowship family. Welcome to your one-stop shop with all things church life. I'm Mark Francis in the host seat once again today. It's been several weeks since we've been able to join you. Taking a little hiatus for the summer, but we're back into the swing of things. Ministry kicking off, school kicking off. It is that time of year, and I have the youth ministry here with me today. Not everybody, not all gaggles of kids.
We wouldn't fit.
No. But I have the key people here. I've got Caleb Pearson with me to my right. Your watching audience on your left. What is your official title?
Director of Student Ministries.
Director of Student Ministries.
And it's been a long time since I've been on the Fellowship Family Podcast.
I love it.
So thanks for having me back.
That's why you're here. And over here on my left, Emma Culler. How are you? Give us your official title.
The Associate Director of Student Ministry.
Associate Director, yes.
I get an extra word.
I love it. So you two have been on staff for just a little bit now. Caleb, give us a little bit of the history of your life and career here at FBC.
Yeah, so this is my 5th year working at FBC and in youth, which is crazy to think about. But I started with the mentorship program in 2018 and then have just been more and more plugged in ever since. And then we hired Emma last year, so she's just kind of coming up on 12 months in youth. So
yeah. And Emma, you've been on this podcast a couple times, maybe once before as well.
Yeah.
Just give us a quick rundown for you of what led you into this position.
So I had been serving in Keystone for the ministry team for probably about a year.
And Keystone is?
The young adult ministry here at FBC.
Yep.
And so Caleb and I had really gotten to know each other. We really worked well together. And I just felt the Lord stirring in my heart there was just a desire on my heart to come and work with students in a long-term capacity. At my other job, I didn't have that ability. And the job here at FBC opened. I came and talked to Caleb about it, and then the Lord moved, and here we are.
And it was cool the way that worked, because she started serving in youth and kind of coming to discern some of that and get involved and start to meet some of the kids well before the job was kind of officially open. It was amidst that transition with Dennis and everything going on. And so even our admin, Abby, was a very similar case as well. We had served with her in Keystone, and she had already been a small group leader. So I think the way the Lord paved the way for fellowship students over the last 3 years has just been so cool, I know, to be a part of.
Yeah, and I just love having the male-female dynamic going on, of having staff that is kind of working with boys and working with girls.
Yeah.
How do you see that playing out? I mean, Emma, I'll even ask you first. I mean, what's your relationships been with girls here at FBC?
Yeah. So that's been... it's just been really cool to see how the Lord has grown that over the past year, because I started out, again, like Caleb said, I came and I volunteered and was discerning, but it was just the beginning stages of the relationships. And so now, being a year in, I'm able to see the fruit and able to just, the girls trust me now. And so able to sit down and have an honest conversation with them, and them being willing to share like where they're at with their heart, and just allowing me to be able to encourage them with, okay, I remember when I was your age and what that felt like. And here's what the Lord taught me through this, and here I am. I can walk alongside you now as you're walking.
And that was a bit of baptism by fire, because she had just gotten hired now when youth is launching. So it's very much, I'm back with the kids. Hey guys, how was your summer? Oh, by the way, this is Emma, and she's just like, hi, But to be where we are now, where they know her and love her, and there's a relationship, like it has made this year's launch that much more exciting.
1 year anniversary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, coming right up on that. That's cool. So tell us a little bit about boys and just kind of the dynamic of what you do with that side of the world.
So on Wednesday nights, I lead a small group as well. And so much of Emma and I's job is working with the volunteers so that we can kind of cover our basis with this many, kids in our ministry. But being available to meet one-on-one with them and in smaller groups with them, and helping raise the value of godly masculinity, I think that's on the forefront of what a lot of these teens are going through. And so to be in that dynamic and have my wife, Hannah, and Abby as well, to start to have female discipleship happening and have a pulse on what these kids are going through, so that we create a culture where we are people they actually want to go to with this stuff as well. And it doesn't become this kind of cliche youth group experience where you just got the kids wanting to not be there or hiding in the bathroom or this, that, the other. We genuinely love hanging out with these kids, and maybe they're faking it, but I think they enjoy it too. And it's just a cool season.
Well, I love it too, because you guys are young and young at heart. And so the relatability I can see is really important to be able to connect with them, to just dive deeper into just the surface level conversations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm an older brother figure. I mean, I have a sibling in youth,
Yeah.
that's eventually going to change. So I'm soaking up this season where these dudes are jumping on me and I can just wrestle them to the ground. Eventually that's going to change because I'm not an older brother age anymore. But in being this far removed from college and high school, but still having such a fresh memory of it and what it was like to have John Avery as my youth pastor, who I just am so grateful for. Every time I'm frustrated with a student, I'm like, I can't even imagine how much I frustrated him when I was a student. But
Paybacks.
Exactly.
Well, it's cool to get a chance to get to know you guys, and we can dive deeper into that probably in the course of our conversation here. But I wanted to turn a little bit and just have you both paint a picture of the vision of student ministries, a little bit wider perspective, like why do you do what you do? Why do we exist? Why is there youth group at church?
Yeah. So we exist to partner with parents in the discipleship of their children. Yeah. So we just had a parent info volunteer meeting this last week, and the opportunity to explain to the parents, that what we do in youth group is part of the bigger body. We had John Avery and Brian Weir both come and actually speak at it to talk about how we're going to be resourcing parents so that we don't accidentally create a culture where what we do is outsourced discipleship. But it's a partnership. It's what are they going through at home? What can we provide as far as truth, community, and purpose that says, here is an excellent avenue and group in which you can also start to see the fruit of the local church. And so when we think about partnering in discipleship, and Emma, I'll let you chime in, we want to create avenues for students to obviously learn the truth, and that's something FBC has always been good at, but create opportunities to serve and opportunities to learn from each other as well. And so we have a volunteer team that's a Wednesday night group and a Sunday morning group that do classes, but there's also a student leadership team where we raise the value of students in youth group learning how to lead in this context and environment. So if you were to visit on a Wednesday night, you would see students doing as much, if not more, than the volunteers at times, and we kind of help foster that culture.
Partnership. That's a key word. Unpack that a little bit more for us. Like, what does it look like to partner with parents?
For sure. So they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and, we are called to live in community. So that's, I think, a lot of what Caleb and I are doing by speaking these truths, or just kind of enforcing what the parents are, teaching their kids at home. That's our goal in partnering with them. And also being able to maybe start conversations here and be like, okay, we're going to talk about this topic. And then parents, you guys can continue this at home. We will resource you, where in the Bible that this can come up. That way you guys can have that conversation. We're here to help equip you as you parent and raise your children.
I feel like that. I mean, I've been around to various churches through my life. And to me, youth group is just like this fun, like drop your kids off, just, have at it for an hour, come back. And like, it's just one of the many activities that parents see. All right, we've got soccer, we've got dance, we've got band, we've got school activities, and just let's throw youth group on the list of things, how can you break that barrier of parents viewing it as just like, this is just, let me just drop kids off?
Well, and I'd love to go a step further with that too. Even for me personally and my peer group, there has been a long history of us reaching out to John Avery after graduation and saying, thank you so much. We had no clue how good we had it. I remember going to college and talking to people about youth group because I was born into this church thinking that's what it looked like for everyone. But you hear some people's youth group stories and it's like pizzas in the basketball court behind the church and anything goes. Like, there's just everybody can have such a different experience. And so to be in a church that's blessed with families that believe what we believe about God and raising that value so early, and also shout out to Brian and the children's ministry, creating a culture of learning these things so that handoff is seamless and we can pick up right where he left off, so to speak. It just makes things a little bit easier, and it helps put the priorities in the right place, because we do have fun, dude. All the time we do. Okay, I'm Barry Pearson's kid, okay? I know.
I believe it.
I know how to have a lot of fun in the first 30 minutes of a class, to the point where somebody might think, is any adult in this room? Is anybody in charge? But then that second half hour, when you have met the kids where they're at and had a little silly game or this, that, or the other, and then you dive into it, they're at a place where they're ready to do that. And showing those kids that somebody in their mid-20s that loves Jesus isn't a myth. That is an advantage that people like Emma and myself
using
have.
the games, using it fun to break the ice, to build relationships, and to then form the opportunity to have a deeper conversation. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's discipleship.
Right.
It's just, you can't just beat them over the head with the Bible right away.
Right.
And the opposite, saying you just can't keep having fun all the time. You've got to speak some truth into it.
Well, and so much of the discipleship that can come from us partnering with parents is we get asked a decent amount of questions that it's not about exegeting a biblical passage. It's about, hey, did you see this thing on TikTok? Or this social media thing that our circles pioneered, that technology front of things. And so to soak up this season where I'm aware of what these kids are up against and I get the update too, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It's such a unique way to kind of bridge that gap so that they do have an older sibling in Christ that's speaking truth and love about some of these things. And that's where application makes all the difference for these students. So we teach the word, we talk about it, and then we get down and deep into what is this going to look like, especially you mentioned the school year starting now, right? Pierce started today, didn't he, at Hanley?
It is fired up.
It's fired up, it's happening. And that's going to come with opportunities and interactions and struggles. And so to partner with the students in that and have them see fellowship students as not just something they attend once a week, but something they can experience over and over that says, that's a place I can go and a place I'm heard. And that's been happening, I believe.
It's a great vision, great image to just kind of soak in and be like, all right, that's what's happening here at Fellowship Bible Church, behind the scenes with students. Even if you don't have kids, it's something to pray for. That we can continue to build those relationships, have those opportunities for conversations, but then also realize that it's a partnership with the parents, partnership with the families to where it continues at home, not just in these four walls.
And with Emma and I, just as an example, since we're here, also being a part of Keystone, that young adult age group, we're seeing and able to disciple young men and women and what that graduation culture looks like of making their faith their own and starting to practice that and ask the tough questions so that they are launching. And it isn't this fingers crossed culture that they're still with Jesus. We'll see you twice a year on Christmas and Easter, but instead here's an immediate ministry at home. And wherever you go to school or work, Winchester, VA, there's a young adult community for you. And we want to partner with you in that. We know what that's like so that they own their faith, that it's real to them. And so a lot of the fruit that I've noticed from the times we have in application is do not talk to these students like they are the future church. They are the present church. Yes, they're going to be there 20 years from now. We all know that. That's obvious. But they are the present church. It's happening now. They can embody these things now. We know from our form and function in our program that we're a microcosm of the church. We have a worship band. We have a content time. We have small groups. It's a microcosm of the church. And the more students can see that and appreciate it, the easier that concept is when they are a young adult of I'm missing something. And that something is the local church.
Well, you brought up kind of what you guys do. I want to turn the corner a little bit and just give us the week by week. What does it look like to be a part of Student Ministries? When would the kids show up? When do you expect them to be here? And then part two of that, what happens when they show up?
Gotcha.
So fire away.
Yeah, so we meet Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8:30, and we always start downstairs in the youth lobby. And we do different things. Not every Wednesday is the same. So the first and third Wednesdays of the month, we do small groups. And so that is you are typically in a group of people, same gender, and then typically same grade. We do have some groups that are combined. Grade-wise, but so you come and it's led by our amazing team of small group leaders, and typically they pick their own study. We give them a lot of autonomy to discern where their group is spiritually, what they need, what the need is, and so that is our first and third Wednesdays, and then the second Wednesdays of the month is our large group. So that's where they all come together. We do a united time of worship, which is 7th grade all the way through 12th grade, and then we kind of split up. Then middle school does does their own thing. They go play their own game, and they have their own large group talk, and high school does the same thing. And then at the end of that, we will break up again into small groups just to kind of process together what was taught about at the lesson.
And then the fourth
Wednesday is we do what we call our ministry team night. So Caleb mentioned earlier that when you come on a Wednesday, you'll see students running around and serving. And so the fourth Wednesday is really their opportunity to get together, the student leaders and their teams, to plan out what the next large group is going to look like. Worship does their rehearsal. The hospitality team is talking through about welcoming people, and just that's what fourth Wednesday is.
So really a true microcosm of the big church,
yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And so you list, if you can, off the top of your head, what are those leadership teams that students can get involved in?
Yeah, we have a tech team, a worship team, a games team, missions team, service team, and events team, among others. And every year, depending on which students graduate, we kind of talk as a team over the summer. Hey, do we want to change any teams? For example, when Dennis launched this idea of student leadership years ago, there was a prayer team and there were some other things. And as it stands now, we kind of incorporate prayer into all the other teams now. Yeah. But it changes year over year, but that's because the students are the ones behind that. Yeah. They meet with Emma and I, and we all decide, where's the Lord leading us? And so on paper, the fourth Wednesday of the month, there is no youth group. It is not the all hands on deck. You got kids getting dropped off from minivans, you know. A large group night ranges from, I am so excited to be here and I love Jesus and I'm going to tell you about him, all the way to, my mom made me come here. What even is this? That's fine. Yeah. We have an avenue for that. Right. But to go from 170 people in the building on that night to a fourth Wednesday where it's maybe 60 total students, but they're all here to serve.
Kind of that's your core.
It's a meeting. It's
leadership development.
Yeah. And so we have 2 student leaders per team, and then at least 1 adult mentor per team that's helping the student leaders and chaperoning and, you know, all that good stuff. And that we've done that 2 years at least now. I'm trying to remember when Dennis and I started that, maybe 3 years ago, but that's been great to give them a context in which they can do that and meet as teams. It becomes a small group led by the students, which is just very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then unpack what small groups look like then. So you've got small group opportunities the first and third Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Some are going to meet in the building at FBC, some are going to meet in homes.
Correct.
What goes on? You said kind of it's kind of a little bit of a almost like a do it as the leaders see fit kind of program. There's not like a set curriculum.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'll just ask you, what do you do with your group?
Yeah, so typically we always do snack because we always feed them. They like to eat, and they're much happier.
They do snack.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a small group guy that brings snacks.
Okay.
So I kind of relinquish that responsibility.
Okay. Well, we'll come to you in a second because I've heard about yours.
It's true.
So we do that. And then we always typically, what our girls love to do is we do highs and lows because they just want to talk what the high of their week was, what the low of their week. And typically that turns into prayer requests. So it's a really great opportunity for the girls to just love on each other, because there have been times where they've come and shared things and the girls have just wanted to pray for them right there. And it's really incredible. And then typically we'll transition either into a game or a lesson, just depending on what the schedule looks like. And again, each small group varies, but there's typically that element of food, fun, and faith, I guess. Yeah.
How many small groups do you think there are right now? And how many are you launching for this coming year? Ballpark.
Like 15 small groups. Yeah. A lot of high school small groups, and then 4 middle school small groups separated by grade and age.
So you said you have somebody that brings snacks in your group.
Honestly, shout out to Samson Stanley, because the Stanley family brings snacks, like 40 small groups in a row. It's been incredible. Yeah, a lot of Oreos.
And then you have like a video game person as well. It's
honestly awesome to hear Emma say, like, we do highs and lows. We sit in a circle and talk. My dudes would destroy each other physically if I said we're going to sit in a circle and do highs and lows. But yeah, I do games and shenanigans up front most of the time. Every year when my small group launches, I go to the whiteboard and I have them suggest what they'd like to study for the year, knowing what we are going to be studying on large group night. So as an example, last week we met with the volunteers and we said, hey, here's the content for high schoolers. It's going to be identity and sexuality this year. Here's the content for middle schoolers. It's going to be apologetics. Take your knowledge of that and decide what you'd like to do with your small group. It can be a spinoff, totally different, or it can tie into that. And we have resources to help it tie into that. But case by case, the groups are so different. I mean, if you're leading 8th grade boys, your small group's going to look hopefully 100% different than an 11th grade girls small group. So that's where the excitement comes in. I think the unique feeling of it. And that's been fun to be a part of.
I know that for the children's ministry, when they have their classrooms, we experience Move Up Sunday, where kids go to a different teacher. Walk us through, if you're talking about an 8th grade boys leader, how does that play out for that 8th grade boy? Is he moving up or is he staying with the same leader?
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that, because in meeting with Brian, who's the new hire for children's ministry, he realized that he has a huge emphasis on Sunday mornings for kids ministry, and they offer a few things Wednesday night, like Club 56. We're the exact opposite. We offer everything on Wednesday nights and offer a couple classes Sunday morning. So we have a Move Up Sunday in alignment with his for 6th graders and up coming into youth, whether they attend the middle school class or the high school class. But every year over the summer, we just move them up a grade and assign them into a group, and we leave it up to the volunteers to decide if they'd like to move up with their students or not. So every year we, especially from April to June, kind of go through this season of prayer and deciding, okay, we need to find a small group leader because so-and-so would like to move up, this, that, and the other. But we have found a good balance. The Lord's been faithful in that so far. Ever since I've been here, any leader that has wanted to move up can, and any leader that has wanted to stay can. And we've been able to adjust the small groups accordingly. And the Lord just does that. It's just cool to see. Yeah, the way that happens.
So paint a picture of like what this next few weeks might look like as we're launching. What can a student expect? What can a parent expect? What are some key dates and things that are going on to launch?
So this coming Wednesday will be August 24th. That's the youth kickoff. So that's the fun, the food, the inflatables, all that crazy stuff. We're also going to launch the small groups then. So whether or not your student's already plugged into fellowship students, or this is the first you're hearing about it and you're new here, they can show up. And we're going to assign them to a small group based on their gender and age, all that good stuff. They'll do a small group picture, a brief icebreaker, and then that's kind of the start of the year. So everything we've been doing this month is kind of back end planning. Hey, parents, here's a heads up. Hey, volunteers, here's the resources. So after the 24th, then we'll launch the student leadership stuff at the end of the month again. And then the first small group will be September 7th. And then it's very much a rinse and repeat of what Emma said, the first and third, all that through the school year, through May. So that's what to expect. And then I just want to plug as well, we have our new fall retreat. It's called Willow Weekend. That'll be September 9th through 11th. That registration's open till August 26th. So we encourage all the 7th through 12th grade students to get registered for that. Our trip away will be super fun. And then we also are bringing back the barn party for the youth group. It's been a few years since we've been able to do that.
Explain that. What do you anticipate a barn party looking like?
Yeah, so growing up, I would go out to Annabelle's barn, and there would be a fall, always in October or November, just the barn party for youth. They'd do a movie up on the side of the barn with a projector. There'd be hay rides and candy and fall stuff, and it was just a lot of fun. That went away for a while, and then we brought it back for a couple years out at, Kernstown Battlefield.
Right.
And then that went away for a while. Right. And so we're bringing it back now. Our staffer, Abby, Canaan Springs is going to host us, and we're going to have a venue that a church family's provided. So we're excited to bring that back. That'll be at the end of the month in October. Cool. But that's kind of very much becoming our fall event. So we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing more stories. Maybe we can have you guys back on to give us a little bit of a
bring us back in January when we're like fried. In our
middle of the year update of what is going on. How can people contact you? If there's questions that parents might have, where can they go? Any kind of details that you would suggest to learn more information about what you guys have been talking about?
Yeah, so I mean, the website is just a huge plug. Just go to fbcva.org/students. And that will have our contact information. It'll have a link to sign up to Flocknote, which is our major communication system that we use. And then links to our social media, Facebook and Instagram. So I think that would be the best way.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a part of the Fellowship Family Facebook page, there's also a Fellowship Students Facebook page. So if you have a son or daughter that's aged in the youth group, feel free to join that group as well, because it's very easy for us to post messages there right away. And then the FBCVA Students Instagram page as well is something we use more and more.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you guys for what you do, first of all, because again, it's not just a drop off. You know, I think that's something that I'm gleaning and I know, but it's to reiterate, this is a true ministry happening when kids are in FBC and they're under your umbrella. They're learning about God, learning about truth, learning how to apply things in their lives. And they have some shoulders to lean on, which is nice. So thank you guys for all of that. Yes, my rising senior, Pierce.
I saw his first day of school picture today on his porch.
Yes.
Erica posted.
I took that thing.
Go Judges.
I was like, last one of my life.
That's crazy.
It's impressive.
You don't look at Mark. You don't look at
Well, you guys are great, and thanks for being here. And just, guys, hopefully you get a chance to learn a little bit of something through our Fellowship Family podcast, and we'll have more kind of ministry updates over these next several weeks as, ministry doesn't stop here, but there's something about this season of September where things start up, and we're right around the corner from that. So continue watching, listening, and really, guys, until we chat again, let's let Christ be the focus of our lives each and every day.